first church service of the month. We recognize it as Celebration Sunday, a time to acknowledge the good, the great, the amazing things that we see happening in our lives. And during the announcements, Alan will take us through a list to help jog our memories in case something has been forgotten. As we go through that celebration process, we might also recognize that whatever chaos took place during the creation of all those amazing things, that stuff, whatever has been going on in your life recently, in this moment, right here, right now, we're likely to be in a state of calm, of gratitude for that good. And like our theme this month, we've gone from chaos to calm through the creation process of those experiences, projects, and situations. We might also recognize how far we've come in our intentions, where we still need to create or work, and what our distant path looks like. I invite you to recognize the one as you, a child of God, on this hero's journey. You are an individualized expression of the divine creator. You have the opportunity to direct the infinite power of spirit, to create your life in whatever direction you decide. That is the journey, and you are the hero of your own life. So, after discussing ideas with the music team recently, to give us added inspiration with the topics this month, we selected an animated film as our focus. Some of you may have seen the movie, How to Train Your Dragon. You will already be familiar with the situations and the challenges and the lessons. It's still a good story to review, and will provide us the opportunity to explore the similarities that we share. In the movie, our hero's name is Hiccup. Hiccup. He's somewhere between 12 and 14 years old. Hiccup is a young Viking who lives in the far north on the coastline of cold waters and lots of snow in the village of Burke. He says that it snows 9 months out of the year and hails the other 3. Any food that grows here is tough and tasteless. The people that grow here are even more so. The leader of the village is Hiccup's father, Stoic, a large, burly Viking warrior who seems to be constantly disappointed with Hiccup. What he does, who he is, his small and skinny size, pretty much everything, all of him. And the boy is aware of this judgment, never measuring up in his dad's eyes. So Hiccup is constantly trying to figure out how to do things to win his father's approval and love. The village of Burke is plagued by flying dragons. These creatures regularly fly in, burn the villages, steal the sheep and the livestock. The Viking men fight back. They even go out looking for them in their ships from time to time to hunt them down without much success. There are always more dragons than men. One night during a village attack by the dragons, Hiccup, who is also quite inventive and skilled in building tools and other contraptions, grabs a mobile catapult that he's put together, and he pulls it to a cliff overlooking the ocean and fires the net-like ammunition toward one of the flying dragons. The dragon is black. It's fast, and it spits out fire bombs of high velocity and powerful devastation. This dragon is known as the Night Fury. It's considered one of the village's most deadliest foes, and the most cunning of all they know. No one has ever seen one. So no one has ever been able to draw a picture of what it looks like for the village dragon manual from which the children are taught and raised to understand and know all the characteristics of all these various dragons. But Hiccup has fired his catapult contraption weaponry into the dark night sky, and then he waits, and he hears the piercing screams of the dragon as it begins to fall from the air. He hit it, and he watches the trail of the fire sparks from the dragon's screaming mouth as it plummets to the ground beyond the village limits, into the distant forest at night. Hiccup is alone on the cliff, jumping up and down in celebration, but no one has seen this great feat of Viking warrior skill. No one has seen the dragon plummet to the ground. Now his father, who will surely approve of him now, is his son. Not Gobber, who taught him how to use the tools to create his weapons and gave him a place to build it. Not his village friends, who think him strange and a bit of a loser. Hiccup is alone in his triumph, just as he was in his fearful challenge. The only thing he can think to do at this time is to follow the trail, find the fallen dragon, and bring back some piece of evidence of his warrior manhood and bravery. And so he leaves the village of Burke, alone, to face his dragon. Like the rest of us, Hiccup must travel the hero's journey on his own, alone, meaning self-directed. Which self we choose to follow, whether it's the human thinking, the ego self, versus the God self, is a matter of choice we get to make in every situation. Now, this character's name is an indication of how he's been making decisions, reactively, and following the direction of his ego voice and those of the other humans, the race consciousness around him. Hiccups are repetitive, uncontrollable contractions of the diaphragm. The diaphragm muscle is just below your lungs, so it can even be difficult to breathe normally when you have hiccups. The spasms close off the vocal cords, making it difficult to speak. The triggers for hiccups are numerous, and the cures are many. Once the hiccups subside, the diaphragm gets back into the rhythmic breathing that we're used to, and the chaos becomes the calm. Our movie character, Hiccup, as part of his village culture and family, react to the dragon attacks like they've done for hundreds of years. No one questions it. No one has done anything new to stop it or change it. It's as if they're cut off from other possible solutions. Hiccup reacts to the attacks, to the fear, like everyone around him, until he listens to the creative urge to design a contraption and use it in a way that no one has used one before. The weapon did not shoot arrows or spears or rocks, but a rope-like net. He wasn't really trying to kill the dragon, but to capture it, at least to bring it to the ground. So maybe he could draw it for the dragon manual, so he could learn about this night fury up close and personal. He faces his fears. He challenges the beliefs of doubt that he has about himself and the way he lives. He tests his worthiness to be part of the human family to which he belongs. And he does it in such a way that even though he shouts and yells for someone to witness his triumph after he downs the dragon, he didn't say a word to anyone about what he was doing when he dragged that catapult to the cliff and fired it off. He did that on his own. He listened to the guiding voice within that was louder than the criticisms of his father or what Gobber was telling him or when his friends were laughing at him. He listened to that still small voice. He created something no one had made before. He brought it into battle to face his greatest foe, and he had the courage to implement his idea, to test it out, to keep trying until it worked. He didn't give up. In that moment, the only one who knew he was a hero was himself. And it gave him enough confidence, enough courage to take the next step on his journey and head into the forest so he could come face to face with his triumph and conquer his even deeper fears. In the Science Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Man awakes to self-consciousness, finding himself already equipped with a mentality, a body, and an environment. Gradually, he discovers one law of nature after another until he conquers his environment through his knowledge of the nature of laws. Everywhere he finds that nature does his bidding, insofar as he understands her laws and uses them along the lines of their inherent being. He must first obey law, obey nature, and she will then obey him. Man discovers his ability to think and realizes that from within there comes a reaction to this thought. He can think consciously, and mental law acts upon his thought." Hiccup was not yet aware of new thought principles the way we know them to be. But he did understand the laws of nature, of physics, of gravity, of aerodynamics. Even if he could not define them, he was aware of them and he used the laws the way they work. That is what we are directed to do in Science of Mind, to use the laws of nature and also to use the laws of science, of mind, mental science, the way it is intended to be used, to create then whatever it is we desire or wish to demonstrate in our lives, to expand who we are. We must first obey nature, universal principle. It gives us many examples about how to live in calm, in orderly fashion, in a peaceful existence. Think about this. Mother Nature might get stirred up from time to time. A volcano here, a tornado there, maybe a hurricane or a flooding river. It seems like chaos. Or the results of those weather conditions may look chaotic. But if you were to watch those natural events as a method of creation, because something new always comes from it, you might see a tornado as spinning harmony and dance of the wind, or a volcano as the birth of new ground, or a flooding river as a cleansing flow of abundant supply. If we just react with fear, we miss all that. If we spew only words of anger, we push away any positive feelings, and we might forget about the true power available to us, the divine power for building something new and better than it was before. I know it can be difficult to go through life's challenges, even more so to do it with a positive and graceful outlook on life, with the belief that it will all work out for our highest good. And yet it always does work out. For example, I'm sure most of us have heard sometime in our lives about the person who claims that getting cancer or some serious illness ended up being the best thing that gave them the greatest gift in life. Or how having a long-time job eliminated actually opened up career doors that you never would have gone through. Or how a difficult divorce and financial burden ended up providing a life of joy and freedom that you've always craved. chaos to calm. And each one an opportunity to be your own hero, to recognize the one thing, energy, power, and principle you can count on is God, the source of all life, all supply. Spirit is constantly creating through each person on this planet, through nature and all the animals. Holmes tells us that creation takes place within spirit and is the result of contemplation or the self-knowingness of spirit. It's how the divine creates within itself, how it knows itself. And you are part of that knowing, that creation. God is God. The only thing that changes is form. Here's an example. As the temperatures are starting to drop, we might start thinking about winter coming. Moisture. Water is water. Or is it? Water is also ice, and snow, and mist, and fog, and rain. The only thing that changes is form. The same is true about God or Spirit. It keeps changing itself into one creation after a gazillion others, to infinity and beyond. It doesn't stop. We stop it on occasion. We stop creation through our fears. Maybe something won't work the way we think it should, or might cost more money than we think we can manage right now. We stop creating because we lose interest. Our focus goes off in another distraction, and the law of mind has to change gears to keep up, and change again, and again, and again. And when we don't have anything to show for it after numerous changes of our mind, we blame God, life, circumstances, other people, because nothing is going according to our plan. We also stop creation, our good, by pushing it away. Maybe because it's not showing up the way we designed it, or our reaction to a gift is so negative that other gifts are blocked from following through as well. We sit back waiting for someone else to be the hero of our life, and nothing happens. You might remember Joseph Campbell, scholar, teacher, author of The Power of Myth, and other numerous books, as well as part of a very long-running dialogue and popular PBS special with Bill Moyer. Campbell defined hero as someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. Someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. He also writes, our true reality is in our identity and unity with all life. This is a metaphysical truth which may become spontaneously realized under circumstances of crisis, for it is the truth of your life. The hero is one who has given his physical life to some order of realization of that truth. So Bill Moyers offered this example. When Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself, he was saying in effect, love thy neighbor because he or she is yourself. The only way I know how to eliminate, or at least reduce fear in my life, no matter what it is or where it comes from, is to love myself enough to face it, to work through it, to bring it out into the light of divine intelligence and my own best understanding, and heal it. If I don't, it flies in the dark mental skies of my mind like the night fury, zipping back and forth from one possibility to another, shooting its destructive fireballs into all my ideas until it holds me hostage and I can't move, I can't do anything. That's when I finally stop and say, enough already. I can't go on like this. Have you ever reached that point? What's the answer? For me, it's to drag my catapult of faith and courage and wisdom and life skills out onto the cliff of indecision and say, come on, it's just you and me, fear. I close my eyes and I pray for Spirit to work as my life, to create new answers through me, to guide me where I need to go and do what I need to do. I look fear in the face, trembling, and I release the trigger of intention for my highest good. I might be shaking in my boots, but I can see my doubts and insecurities for what they are. Hiccups. A disruption of faith. Just useless and unfounded beliefs, old thinking patterns, bad habits, and worn out ideas. I let them go and watch them crash into the far-off distant past. We are all dragon tamers, taking our chaotic fears to peaceful understanding. God never fails, and I am one with the divine, and so are you. We are all one in the mind and spirit that is God, that is creation, that is life. That's the hero's journey, my friends. A call to adventure, both the known and the unknown. A journey of challenges and temptations, probably. A journey of revelation and transformation, absolutely. A return trip to the source of life, the source of love and greater understanding. You and I are the heroes of our own lives. We have everything we need within consciousness for this grand adventure. Let's get started and see where we go.